So all of us here who speak, we always look forward for the evaluation, right? So here is how...
You and myself, because we compete every year. And how many of you feel the same feeling even in a regular club meeting? There's this urge that we feel. Be prepared for them before entering the evaluation speech contest. Next, you ask yourself, so, I'm prepared, I saw the rules. Who is the enemy exactly? Who is exactly the person I'm competing against? Judges? Then why we go and say, fellow judges, you want to appeal to them because you know they have your fate in their hands. But they are not the enemy. How about other evaluators? Sometimes you hate them because you're contestants. How about target speaker? You want to punish him for coming here tonight. You want to show how weak he was. No, it's just your friend. He's as nervous as you are. How about audience? When they go, when they look left and right, when they don't look at you and smile, are they the enemy? I don't think so. So who is the enemy? No. Can't be the enemy yourself. This is the enemy. No, it's not the enemy. 2005, the division speech contest, I was there giving my finalist evaluation. The microphone was my enemy. You know when the microphone screams? It happened 3 times. And if this happens, you lose every sense of continuing the contest. But hopefully, in the last few years, we've managed to advance in technology and avoid these problems. So the microphone hopefully will not be your enemy. Who's left? Not yourself. This is the real enemy. Remember this, from now on, the real enemy against any effective evaluation is time. This beautiful traffic light chart from 0 to 3 minutes is the real enemy of any effective evaluation. And I'll tell you why. We have 3 minutes. So we start by repeating the speech. When the speaker came here and spoke about body language, I go ahead and repeat the whole speech. First, the speaker talked about body language. Second, the speaker talked about facial expressions. Third, the speaker talked about combination. So you are repeating the same speech, wasting valuable time. And in between this, you whitewash and you put every positive quality in that speaker, even if he was not that good. Because we are an emotional community. We don't like to hurt each other. So we whitewash and we bring every possible quality in that speaker. Again, we are losing the battle against time. We spend all the way up to 2.5 minutes when we see the green light, praising and repeating a speech. And then we spring into action. We see the yellow light. And immediately we go into analysis mode. And we give 2 badly squeezed suggestions in that 30 seconds of time. And these 2 suggestions will not help the speaker because they are squeezed, general, and you cannot be analytical in 30 seconds. And we have what we call the sudden death end. Because the time is squeezing against you, you see the red light and you go, oh, okay, thank you very much. So this is the real enemy. Planning time and giving any evaluation, whether contest or individual, this is the real enemy. So how do we beat this? How do we go ahead and go around this enemy we call time? Here is my advice to you all. You spend the no light period of the timing device before you see the actual green light flashing. You talk about highlights. Now, highlights is not as repeating the speech. If you see any news, podcasting or broadcasting, the highlights is an actual snapshot of what went by. So instead of saying the speaker started with this, then he began with this, then he ended with this, you take the highlight commentary of what happened, only highlights. And you sprinkle these highlights with encouraging comments by saying, it made me feel happy. Your voice tonight made me feel encouraged, inspired. And you end this as soon as you can, because you are in the race against time. So before the actual green light is on, you are well into the suggestion stage, and not after the green light is on. You aim to start your suggestions before you see the green light flashing. Because you know that the real target of your evaluation is giving 2 or 3 effective, powerful, focused evaluations. So the first rule is to start giving your highlights and sprinkle them with points of comments before you see the first green light flashing. You start your suggestions as soon as you can, and you focus on 2 or 3 focused suggestions, and I'll tell you how you look for those focused suggestions. 3 might be a bit too much if you are giving an elaborate type of suggestion. So 2 to 3 is very good, is advisable. And then, before you see the red light on, you take your time in summarizing, because remember, summarizing is 15 points in the sheets, and give an effective handover to the Master of Ceremonies. Any questions here? This is how you can compete with the emergency of time, and how you deliver an effective evaluation within the allocated time given. Now, why do we always face this problem? Why do we see people repeating the speech and giving an overzealous highlights and positive whitewashing? Because we always tend to focus on the what. But sometimes, if you move from the what, and you forget about the what, and bring in the speaker, you will talk about how and why. In public speaking, what refers to the content, subject, how is delivery, and why is the message behind the speech. So, you have to make sure that you have the speech in one place, the speaker in the other place. And carefully talk about what happened in the speech and how the speaker talked about the subject. This is the basic classification of your evaluation. What happened and how it happened. If you focus your suggestion on what happened and how it happened, it will give you at least 2 to 3 good suggestions in your evaluation criteria. So, again, I am focusing on 2 to 3 suggestions. In my humble opinion, IMHO. In my humble opinion, these are 2 to 3 suggestions you should focus on. Words, what did the speaker actually said in a speech? 1 or 2 quotation or examples from the speech will really help you zoom in what the speaker said. Voice, what did you hear when the speaker spoke about the speech? The tone, how up or how down it was. Body, and what did you see when the speaker went on the stage and delivered the speech? So you can see here, what did you think, see, and hear. You as an evaluator, you have a focal point of what you thought, what you saw, and what you heard in the speech. And only in that speech, not something before or after. What you thought, what you saw, and what you heard in the speech. This classification was brought forward by Toastmaster Juju. 7% is for word, 38% is for voice, and a whopping 55% in the body language. This will give you the importance of what you saw, what you heard, and what you thought. This is an important part of your structure in a winning evaluation or not so winning evaluation. We all know that 10% is given for introduction, 80% is given for the body of the speech, and the last 10% is given for the conclusion or the message of your speech. What happens typically in any evaluation session is you get people receive that sheet of paper from the chief judge, and the moment they receive it, they start writing. And they fill back and forth 8 pages. When you write, what happens? You don't look at the speaker because you're busy writing. You give back the paper, you go to the holding room, we come back to deliver, you forget what you've written. And when you want to deliver what you've written, because you've forgotten and you have 8 pages in front of you, you rush through it. This is what happens typically in any speech evaluation contest. What should happen is, the most important part is to listen and look at the speaker, because the speaker has 5 minutes to deliver his speech. And your role as an evaluator to listen and look at the speaker while speaking. Then, while doing this, you take a map of what happened, summary of what happened, what went well, what needs improvement, and how to improve it. This will save you time and effort while looking and listening to the speaker. So, you listen, map what is your suggestions, and then you go there, relax, deliver your actual evaluation. Moving from this to this needs practice, experience, and being there again and again. Then you need to fine-tune your evaluation. And these are questions that I have gathered, and I had amazing amount of discussion with many Toastmasters. And I'll share this with you as well. Let's open the floor now for discussions. Do we encourage or do we whitewash? Who is yes for encouragement? And who is yes for whitewashing? Who is yes for both? Imagine this, an icebreaker speech, nervous speaker. First speech, coming to the evaluation, do you whitewash or do you encourage? I would whitewash. His first speech, you want to encourage him a bit more. But when it comes to an experienced speaker who knows the game, he will know how and when you start whitewashing him. So more of encouragement, less of, or zero for whitewashing. And when do you actually classify an evaluation as whitewashing? Is when you know and you're deep in your heart what you're saying is exaggeration. You can tell your first line of defense is yourself. So you know that Juju was not prepared. You know in your heart. And you come say, wow, I think he spent the last 3 months preparing. Whitewashing. Straightforward. So if you feel it yourself, how about the others? They will feel it. And for me, how can I tell that the evaluator is whitewashing? And when he brings some trademark buzzwords like, wow, fantastic. You know, this is the beginning of whitewashing. This is the start of whitewashing. And when you start whitewashing, the person being whitewashed will be happy. Us, stop it, move on, I know, he's Superman, move on. So, encouragement, yes, whitewashing is the extension, is the enlargement of the actual reality. Number 2, this is really controversial. Do we objectify or personalize the speaker? Let me tell you how. Objectify is say, my target speaker. Who is your target speaker? He was, so the third voice. Then he moved on. Then he said this. This is being objective. And some people say it will help in protecting the speaker when you use the third voice. But you're losing the personal touch. But when you personalize, you say, Toastmaster Juju today gave us a fantastic speech. thank you very much for this. I really admire your presentation. Personalize, objectify. Who agrees with objectifying a speech? Who agrees with personalizing a speech? Who agrees with both? It depends. Where do you stand exactly? Do you want to encourage or do you want to wash? Based on that, objectifying gives you more of an objective approach. Personalizing makes your recommendation easier to be received. Next. Sharing or assuming feelings. You see, the impact of a speech reflects on your feelings. A lot of people say, assume that the speaker was nervous, assume that he was a bit unprepared, assume that he was angry. If you assume and assume and assume, you build your assumptions on a ground that you may not share with the speaker. But the best way is to talk about your feeling. This is how the speech made me feel. Made me feel happy, made me feel sad. Because the only person that knows exactly how you feel is yourself. So I encourage you to always reflect on your own feeling, because you are the listener of this speech, and not assume what the other people felt. Next. In my humble opinion, gives you a tentative, relaxed, friendly way to deliver your recommendations. These are not facts of life. These are only opinions and views. So when you say, he always does this, this speaker always screws up, even if he did well this time, you don't refer to the past performance. You stay with the present, because every stage, every speech has its own conditions and its own requirement. You always stay in the present and use, in my humble opinion, in my view, in my own point of view, I would humbly recommend this and this and that. Next. Keep or remove but. Who is for using but? The speaker did very well, he did this, but. And when you bring out the but, everything before the but is forgotten. And this is a big problem in evaluation, because you need a transition between the first part and the second part. The first part being highlight of what happened. The second part is giving suggestions. This is a difficult part of evaluation, because when you finish from giving highlights, you want to move to giving suggestions, you have to make a transition. And the easiest one is but. Speaker did this, did that, he's excellent, I love him, thank you very much. But, as an evaluator, I have to give him two suggestions. The easiest transition is but. So try your best to use another term, because this but has a resounding effect on the listener. Other suggestions is like, however, having said so, once finishing from the first part, now it's my turn to give you a few suggestions. Because I care for you, these are my couple of suggestions. Any way to go around the but. Because mark my words, this but, B-U-T, has a powerful effect on making us forget whatever happened before the but. Here you go. Next. Separate the speech from the speaker. And today was a big example of separating the speech from the speaker. If a person here came and saw Toastmaster Joel Underputty, he would say that, what an amateur speaker. He came here not prepared, and he gave us, took time, unprepared, and the video didn't work. This is personalizing the speaker, not the speech. The speech can have its own characters, the speaker has its own character. We know that Toastmaster Joel is an experienced speaker. We hold great respect for him. But what happened today was only because of technicalities to the speech. Remember to separate the speaker from the speech, no matter what. The speaker can be encouraged, disappointed, but at that time we are there to look at the speech and not to evaluate the personal life and emotions and attribute of the speaker. Next, close the loop and the way forward. When you deliver a powerful evaluation, you also need to end it powerfully as well. You give what will happen next. Close the loop, whether he will pass or repeat. You recommend a pass or repeat a speech. And hand over properly to the master of ceremonies. This is how you fine-tune the three parts of the speech. The first part, highlight and positive comments, 2 to 3 suggestions, summary and handover. You put this against the time that we have talked about, the scale, and you can definitely easily master your evaluation. Now, master of ceremony, how much time I have left?